Welcome to tonight's stream, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. It seems like my laptop, my Windows laptop I should add, is getting to that point, you know, if you've had Windows installed too long on a computer, it just stops working. I don't know why. I've had Windows laptops for, see, my first PC, I was probably 30 years. Wow, that's a long time ago. That's a really long time ago. I think I had Windows 90, no, I had the one before that. Anyway, when you have Windows installed on a laptop or a computer long enough, something just stops working. I don't know why that is. It sucks. And now my computer is so slow that when I try to start the stream, it just kind of just almost completely stops. So I had some issues getting the stream to start, and I don't know why. The updates are preventing it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, hey Catherine, nice to see you. I don't know why it does that. I mean, updates should make it faster. I have a Mac also, a laptop, which I'm incredibly happy with, even though I don't like the actual operating system in itself. I prefer Windows, but it just works, and I've had less problems with that one compared to how much problems I have with the Windows laptop. So yeah, when I was younger, I used to love that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's that time of the year, you know, I installed lots of stuff, and then you got software from dubious places, and there would be viruses and stuff, and like, yeah, just erase everything and start it over. And now it's kind of like, oh man, I have all my settings, I have everything prepared for the stream. I just want it to work. So and then I'm gonna have to reinstall like all the software I have. So, but I think I'll just have to do it. Then hopefully that will last me a few years until I have enough money to buy like a Mac table. What do they call them? Like Mac Mini or something. But they just raised the prices on those, so yep, it will work. We'll get it to work. But today I have something much more fun to talk about. I want to talk about how to feel close to another human being. I feel like I'm sitting a bit strange. Like this. How to be close to another human being, and how we tend to make that very difficult because we put things in between us and other people. What you'll notice is that the way that most people talk about how to get close to other people, how to be close to them, and I think I wrote this in the title for tonight's video. I'm not talking about sexual relationship being close, or even an intimate relationship where you're like, it's your partner of some kind, or someone that you feel attracted to. Like, that's not the closeness I'm talking about. I'm talking about the feeling that comes from, or the way it is to perceive interacting with another human being when you don't need anything from them. When there's nothing you're trying to get from that person to make you feel whole, or to make you feel better, or to make you feel different, or to or you want them to feel a different way, which is another way of saying, like, you want to feel good, because if you make them feel good, then I'll feel good, like, most of the time. That's how that works. But none of that stuff is running. Instead, it's just two humans interacting with each other. And this is something that is quite rare in today's age, because we're so used to... Sorry, I just have to move back a bit. I feel like I have the camera lens squashed in my face. Maybe it actually isn't, and it's just me sitting wrong. Yeah, we're so used to trying to feel a lot of stuff to get all these intense experiences. So the idea of just hanging out with someone, just being with them, that's like, yeah, we can't just do that. We need to get somewhere. We need to have especially if you're in the spiritual scene, you need to just discuss deep stuff. I mean, I've been there. Maybe you have too if you're listening to this. And I know I've spoken to a lot of people who have this issue, that when they get into spirituality, it's like they can't just have a normal conversation with people anymore. It has to be a conversation where you open up your soul and tell me everything, your deepest, darkest secrets about where you come from and what makes you tick. And there's a certain type of high that comes from that, when you get that kind of like feeling like, oh, I really connected so deeply. And that's not what I'm talking about. That might feel nice, but the problem is that, first of all, you can't have that kind of relationship with everyone all the time. Even someone you're close to, like, that just doesn't work. Like, you can do that for a while, but then eventually that doesn't hold. It's not a sustainable way to interact with other people. And you say, like, well, I do that all the time, and like I never interact with someone unless it's really like on their true self, and like maybe, like, yeah, it's just going to cause issues. Like, it's not really a good way of interacting with people, and then it gets very intense. There's going to be a lot of people who will try to get away from that, because it's quite difficult to be with someone who just wants to talk about that kind of stuff. And I've been there. I've done this myself. I have someone as my partner who's been like that, so I'm very familiar with what it's like and how nice it can feel to really open up to someone and feel like, oh yes, I'm daring to show this part, and then you just can handle that. But there's another way of looking at interacting with people that doesn't include the self or the ego needing something, because when you have the idea that yes, we need to share our deepest secrets, you actually want something from them. Imagine if you had the idea that, okay, we're going to go in and deeply and share here like our deepest secrets, and you tell the other person your innermost soul, like the deepest thing, like you haven't shared with anyone, and you share that with them, and then they start laughing at you. You go like, what? You would feel hurt. Hey, Stephen. Or if they didn't give you the kind of validation that you think you deserve because you were such a good person who shared like this deep secret with them. Or maybe they just didn't care, and you feel like, oh, that's a bad person, I don't like that person. In other words, you weren't freely sharing, just being yourself. You wanted something from them. You wanted them to give you something back. It's the same way that when we, not always of course, but when you listen to someone who's sad and you feel compassion with them, you feel like, oh, you start feeling bad now too, and you feel like, oh, I have to help them. Relationship less than sexuality. Yes, it's, wait, I'm assuming you mean that, I'm not sure how they would actually go together if a relationship is less than sexuality. I'm not sure what you mean by that. A relationship without sexuality, I'm assuming you mean, Stephen. Oh, I lost my track here, a train of thought. What was I saying? If you talk to someone, you need, oh yes, if you help someone, and sorry, you feel compassion for someone, you feel like, oh, I feel their pain. Now, if you help them from that space, that means that you are actually making yourself feel bad to begin with, which means that the sum total on the planet of how much joy and happiness is there has kind of gone down, because now you made yourself feel bad. And then you walk around with feeling bad like that, and you're going to spread that to other people. And then that person is going to spread it to other people. And so it kind of spreads this kind of idea that, oh, life is miserable, it's so sad, and we just spread it to everyone. And I mean, I'm sure you have people like that around you who just seems to love wallowing in how miserable the world is and how terrible everything is. And you can absolutely have that perspective, because there's so much crap going on in the world that sometimes it's like, how is it even possible? Because it doesn't really lead to anything good. Like, it doesn't help anyway. I mean, you could argue that, yes, like that, from that, you will then get people to like, oh yeah, this is so bad, we need to do something. The problem is that if we do that, then we're helping people because we want to feel good. So you're not actually unconditionally helping someone. You're saying that, okay, I'm going to help this person because I feel so bad. And if they then don't appreciate that, if they don't feel good, if they don't improve their situation, then I'm not going to feel good either. Or I didn't get the hit that I wanted, because I wanted them to validate me as someone who's a nice person, who helps other people. It's all ego stuff, but we think of this as like, oh no, I'm so unselfish. I'm doing this for the greater good of the planet. But actually there's a lot of self in doing help from that perspective. There is another way that you can interact with people, and I've kind of been alluding to this the whole time, which has nothing to do with wanting or needing something from the other person. Instead, it's just what happens when you stop pressuring against the world around you, when you stop needing something and you just go up to someone else and you just start talking. There is no necessary direction of the conversation. You're not trying to get them to share anything deep with you. Not trying to do anything. You're just there, listening, talking, interacting with someone else, and it's very enjoyable. I was just out on a walk earlier today, and I met 1, 2, 3 people, I think. No, 2 people. Feels like I had a third also. I know I spoke to someone on the phone. Sorry, I met someone before, a handy worker that was here. And in all of those 3 interactions, and tell me if you've experienced this yourself, we just talked. It was just simple to talk. It's just nice to talk to them. I started talking to a man who plants. I've seen him plant these potato plants since early spring, and we were just discussing, and he was saying how he had badgers on the property, and he was a hunter, so he would shoot them when they came and like ruin his lawn, and we just had a nice open relationship, and I made sure that I didn't have any distortions to what he said. Instead, I would just listen. And I can see that when you talk this way to someone, they open up and they just start talking, and they feel at ease because now I feel good, and then they start feeling good. And 2 people feeling good together, now that's a very nice place to be. And that starts spreading, and it's almost like it's a virus that spreads, but a good virus, like a happiness virus. Like you feel good and you start talking to people, and we're not talking about like, woohoo, I'm feeling so good. No, you're just enjoying being there. It's not the idea that, oh, I'm talking here, but I need to go because I'm going somewhere else, or I'm here talking to you and I actually want something from you. I want you to like me or whatever. But no, you're just there, talking. No need for anything to happen. If it does, it does. But like we're just having a discussion. And it's just so nice and relaxing to do that. And people feel that, because otherwise you have this like mask in front of you that you're like, oh, I need to say the right things. I need to make sure that no one sees me as being dumb or like as being ignorant or like not knowledgeable. Whatever it is, like you believe you need to protect, like this mask. But you just drop that and you just talk. Just you. Whatever may come out, and you say something wrong, like, oh, that's okay. And you can listen to them. You don't need to correct them. You don't need to teach them. It's just 2 people interacting with each other. And it's an incredible feeling to just be there with another person. And this can happen when you're in an intimate relationship as well. Like you can absolutely have that. And I think it happens quite often, even though what we call love and affection comes in and kind of ruins it, because then like, no, I need you to please me somehow. When I love you, like I will say I love you, and that means you're going to know everything about me so that you can make sure you don't do anything wrong to make me sad or angry or upset, and then I'll do the same for you. And as long as we keep doing the right thing, we're happy. But if you look the wrong way, and like, or if you said the wrong thing, or if you didn't do this at home, and then those things get more and more the longer you're in a relationship. So there's more self in there, but you can absolutely have that with another person where you just feel naked, like you're not holding up a mask between you and them. And if you're coming here on the stream, you probably notice that that's how I interact with you. There's very little, I don't tell everything that's going on in my life. That's not what I'm talking about. I can simply say what is necessary in the context of being here, but there is very little filter in what I'm saying. There is very little me trying to make sure that I'm perceived a certain way. Instead, it's just me talking. And there are people that we have an easier time doing this with than others in our lives. See, Catherine is saying, altruism, yeah. Altruism is to give or help without any expectation, and not for oneself, but to give freely. Yeah, exactly. Like that would be the way to do. Let's see. Stephen is saying the worst thing in relationships is people who are self-centered. The worst thing in relationship is people who are self-centered. Maybe I have to think about that one. I mean, this is also like a thing when we say in a relationship. If you go into a relationship expecting them to do something for you, then that's also like a dynamics that's going to come from that. But instead, if you go in a relationship with just, I just enjoy this person. I enjoy them as they are, and you'll see who they are. Obviously, if they're just thinking about themselves, I'm assuming that's what you mean, then they're probably not going to be very fun to hang out around. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not the one to judge here or say like what's right and wrong. Like, you could absolutely be focused on yourself. Yeah, I'm just saying that there's more to it than the general things that we tend to think of. Instead, it's how we. Someone who's actually, Stephen, let me put it this way: like, no, the worst is not someone who is self-centered, or maybe it's more that what we think of self-centered might not actually be as wide as it should be. Because imagine if we're in a relationship and I do everything for you, like everything I do for you. Like, I just make sure that you're happy, I make sure everything is okay, and I make sure that you're happy all the time and really like getting to where you want to be. If that's what I do, it might seem like I'm completely unselfish and I'm doing everything for you. But actually, the reason I do that is very likely because I have this social conditioning that I am supposed to do this for you because of some reason. If I would have been a woman, then maybe I would have learned that, well, as a woman, it's my duty to make sure that you as my husband or my partner are happy, and I should make sure that I do these things for you. It means that I'm actually self-centered. It's just that I'm doing unselfish things that seem to be for other people. But I'm actually incredibly self-centered. It's all about how I'm feeling because it's uncomfortable for me to do something for myself. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we have such an easy time throwing out things like that, but there's many more levels behind that. It's not just what we do, it's behind what we do. And I mean, the problem with someone who is like that is that very likely they're going to be super triggered or super difficult, because if you don't give them the kind of response that they expect, because, oh, I do everything for you, and you don't even say thank you. You just say, like, oh, that's nice. Whereas I might expect, like, if I do this for you, you're supposed to throw me with appreciation and love and how amazing I am and all these things, and you don't. So now I feel bad. So there's a lot of dynamic at play. In other words, that's not what I'm talking about. That's also like a mask in between. Instead, it's just when I'm there and not expecting something from you, however you come into that moment is how you come. And this, again, like, I want to move away from the idea of having a relationship as an intimate relationship, but just as a fellow human, like someone else, like a person that is part of your life or not part of your life. It's irrelevant. It's just fellowship is something that, like, someone I heard the other day, like fellowship, like there's a feeling of being together. We're just like hanging out, and it's not my right to have you behave, like to ask you to behave in a certain way for me, or for you to ask me to behave in a certain way for you. We just hang out and we do things. And when we stop pretending to be someone, when we stop trying to be accepted or trying to be cool or whatever it is that we're trying to do, like fit into the group or any of that, and we're just there talking. Again, the idea of the spiritual person who can only talk about deep stuff, they're trying to fit into a group like that, because I can only be with people who are like this. Like, one of the ways you'll know that you're touching on the thing I'm talking about is that you'll just be able to talk to everyone. And it's enjoyable talking to everyone, because you don't need to share the same interests. You don't need to even have the same opinions about things. It's just you listening to someone. It would be the ability to go and talk to someone who has completely different views than you, and just genuinely feel like, oh, this is a really interesting view. Like, I can't understand how you can see that, but I thank you for sharing, like, your perspective. My perspective is this. That's not what tends to happen. What tends to happen is that I listen to you, and the whole time I'm standing there waiting. Okay, when is it my turn? When can I say what I mean? Because I know about this. And you're just waiting for the right moment to come in, and like, bam, yes, I nailed it. Like, this is how it is. And then they get triggered, and then they start like fighting back, and so you get all this conflict, and the other person feels this, and you feel this, and so it's not an easy interaction with the other person, and so you're not close to the other person, because now you have these masks you're holding up. Now you have your identity, all these opinions and ideas of what you should or shouldn't do that you're holding between you and that other person. that makes it very difficult for you to be open with them. So it could be that the other person is self-centered. Now, if I don't like self-centered people, that means that I'm actually closing myself up to that person. I am not saying, well, I should just be together with someone who's self-centered. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying let other people use you. I'm just saying that you will be closing yourself off to someone just because they are very focused on themselves. If you could go up to someone like that and just listen to them, just be with them, they might actually start listening to you eventually. And it doesn't matter if they don't do or don't. It's just that they're just another human being, and it's nice to talk to them. Just because they just talk about themselves, like that's fine. Because you don't feel the need to intersect and inject like you in the conversation. That's the kind of dynamic that we're just so used to from personal development and psychology. Like, oh, you have like 50-50, like I should talk 50%, you should talk 50%, and then we kind of make each other happy. Whereas like I'm saying, just skip all of that and just go up to someone, not expecting anything from them, not trying to change them, not trying to get something from them. Hey JV, just being there with another person as if you're not really there. And when I say that, I mean that you as an identity is not really there. It's not getting triggered by what they say. It's not getting, it's not needing to have them appease you or please you or say like, oh, you're so good, or even if they say you're so good, then you shouldn't feel like, oh, like, oh yes, tell me more of this. Like, then you can look at, oh, I have a distortion here, I'm actually needing something from them, and then you look at that and let go of that, and then work towards just being in a conversation or a relationship with someone that's just easy, that's just effortless, that's without friction, that's just enjoyable, and you'll see where it leads to. The problem is that we very often want something from the other person, or they want something from us, so we have a hard time doing this, and we're so used to interacting with people this way that we think that that's the only way to do it, or that that's even normal. Like, of course it's like that. How could it be any other way? Like, how could I talk to someone and not need to share me, not need to have them approve of me in some way? It's just how we're used to things being, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's hard at first, because the self is going to go like, this is not fair, I should be talking. Like my daughter, she says when someone does that, she says like, fusk, it means cheating, it's not okay, I can't do that. But it's just fun. Like I said, I met the man with the potatoes. I had another neighbor whose son is burnt out. I had a conversation. Like, I saw him and I just walked up. I saw him standing in the garden, and then I could feel a part of me like, oh, maybe I'm interrupting. But I just went in, not needing anything, and just openly started sharing, because I've been burnt out myself. And we had a really nice conversation, and just enjoyable. I had the handiwork who was here before, and we discussed electronics, and it was just a really fun conversation. And I could have complained to him, I could have been angry with him, but there's no need to do that. Instead, you could have a nice interaction with another person. And doing this makes us happy, makes it easier to enjoy being here, because now all of a sudden it's not just you going around and looking at things and enjoying being here. It's actually you getting to interact with another person, which is an incredible thing to do. Like, being able to share with someone with words, with ideas, with thoughts, with concepts, with views, with all these things. It's incredible. It's really fun when you stop emotionally judging them the whole time. Oh, my opinion is better than yours. I know this better than you. The thing you're doing, that's wrong, but my thing is right. And you might say like, well, there are things that are wrong or right. Well, in whose opinions? It depends on from where you're looking at it, in what country, in what tradition, in what culture, and in what part, like what team, what country. Like there's a lot of things that go into saying right and wrong. So what you call right and wrong is probably just what you believe is right and wrong, meaning what you feel, what you've been brought up to say, like, this is how we do it, anything else is wrong. You can only be in a straight relationship. Anyone who's gay, they're wrong. And then the other person is like, no, you have to be accepting of everyone. It has to be that you can be anything you want, call yourself anything you like, otherwise you're wrong. That's their feeling of what is right and wrong. And then we start fighting with each other instead of listening to the other person. Like, why do you believe that it has to be like this? Well, I believe because of... And they'll share their thing, and they'll say like, well, I believe this is because of that. And maybe they can actually start communicating and say like, oh, you know what? You do have a point. I still want to keep this part from me. And they might say like, I understand you as well. Like there's a understanding and a past that you come from that makes sense. But instead we make it so black and white. We start identifying emotionally with it. And so then every interaction with another person is not an open, naked, freely willing just interaction with another person. Instead, it's a way for us to spread our opinions, to spread our ego, our idea of what it should be like or shouldn't be like. Because if more people agree with me, then I feel like, yeah, I'm justified in feeling this. Then it's okay. If you think differently, then I'm threatened because everyone has to think like me. Someone who's really secure in something, it's like someone who knows they're really good in something. They don't need to go around telling everyone that they're good. Like, they just know it. Like, why would they, unless they have a really like weak persona kind of that just needs to have that validation. But otherwise, someone who's really good at something, they don't need to have other people say it because they know it. It's like I have quite often that I have people who start talking about meditation, and especially if Marlene, my fiance, is with it, I can see her almost jumping like, oh, Martin, he used to live as a monk. He really knows a lot about this meditation stuff. And I'm genuinely interested in hearing other people who don't know about meditation try to explain meditation to me. Other people who don't know about mindfulness or the kind of stuff we talk about here, try to explain that to me, because then I get to hear how do they see it. Like, what is it like for someone who has virtually no like idea about this other than having read Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, or maybe they read some book by Deepak Chopra, or maybe they went to church and someone like said like, okay, we're going to meditate now, and they focus on the breath and they now believe they know how meditation works. I genuinely find that interesting because I don't need to defend me. I don't need to go in there and say like, yeah, you know what? I have meditated like at least 20,000 hours in meditation centers. I've gone through stuff you wouldn't even believe or understand. So yeah, I'm much better than you at this. That would be me having my ego that I'm trying to get them to validate and say like, okay, you're good. Whereas if I drop that, then it's just an interesting discussion. Then I can listen to them, and then if they ask something from me, then I can share. But most of the time I don't even do that because there's no need, and it just becomes so weird because it's just such a incongruency in our knowledge about it that I'm kind of like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And if they do ask, I want to learn, then absolutely I can share that. There's no problem with that. But I don't need to get that validation from them. Let's see what Stephen is saying. When they don't appreciate your kindness or are controlling, it's time to move on. I'm assuming you're talking about an intimate relationship, and then, yeah, very likely, yes. Like, probably. But if you're just talking about a friendship or talking to someone, then why? Like, if you need them to appreciate your kindness, that means you're not being unselfish. You're doing that because you want something back. You're being kind to them so that you can feel like, oh, I'm a kind person. They should feel thank you for me. And if they don't do that, then I'm going to stop doing it. So you're not actually kind. You're doing a transaction. You're negotiating with them, saying like, okay, I'm going to give you this because I'm so unselfish. I'm helping you. I'm giving you this. But in return, you need to give me adoration, and you need to tell me that I'm kind, and like all these things, and you need to do stuff back at me. Otherwise, I'm not going to keep doing it. You see, it's not actually... You're not being unselfish. You're being very self-centered when you're doing that. You want something from them. And it's really difficult to imagine how we could live life differently until you've tried it. Because the self is going to come in and say that, well, obviously if you don't feel bad and angry about this, then people are just going to abuse you and take advantage of you. I've said this many times. I'm not saying stand there and just like let people walk all over you. That's not what we're talking about. It's a lot of fun talk to other people, to be with other people, to see what happens when you're just there with other people. And when you stop defending yourself, it can be one of the best ways to practice. In Buddhism, and especially Theravadan Buddhism, they focus so much on sitting meditation and walking meditation. This is the way you do it. That's the only way to practice. Everything else is just nonsense. This is how you get enlightened. You sit, you walk, and you don't talk, you don't interact. You should just be really, really focused, kind of. And they miss such a huge part of practice that comes from actually interacting with other people, talking to someone, having a family. Oh my goodness, like that has been one of the best practices I have ever done in my entire life. Having kids completely not at all care about your feelings or what you want. Like, if there's anyone, I can see what Stephen said. He said, if someone is, if they don't appreciate your kindness and are controlling, it's time to move on. Like, Stephen, just get kids. That's the definition of kids. They don't appreciate your kindness and they're controlling and just try to get whatever they want. They're just self-centered. That's what kids are like. That's kind of like completely normal. It's what they're supposed to be like. And as a parent, it's your job to make sure that you just make sure they get through their childhood safely so they can then go out into the world. But you're still going to do things for your kids even if they don't appreciate it. It's part of the deal. And the less you can do as a transaction with them needing something back, the more they can appreciate you and really be... I'm laughing so hard saying this because if any of you looking at this have kids, you'll know what I'm talking about and what a blow to your ego it is when you think you're so unselfish and so kind to other people to get kids and they start testing everything. Like testing the limits of everything, how far they can go, how much they can push you, what they can get with as little work as possible. It's like, it's really, all the things that we believe that this is how it's supposed to be, you can just throw that out of the door when you get kids. It's a lot of fun. So I hope that gave you an idea what I'm trying to point at. And I can't really, again, it's one of these things I can't tell you exactly what to do because it's not about doing something specifically. It's about how you feel towards things, how you relate towards things. And that's not something that someone can tell you to do or how to do. It's something you have to feel, and it has to, when you do it, you have to see that this is a better way of living life. Otherwise, you're not going to keep on doing it. You have to see that when you're having an interaction with other people like this and you're actually being open with them, that there is something that opens up that wasn't there before. There's something in that interaction that you simply cannot have when you have two people with masks in front of them, making sure that they're safe the whole time, making sure that they get something from this interaction. There's something that comes from just being open and naked in front of another person. Naked in front of another person. And I highly advise you to give it a try when you go out and talk to someone. Don't take off your clothes and be naked, because that will just, like, people are going to start calling and like, yeah, Martin told me to do this, and then the police call me and say like, hey, did you tell him to go and take off his clothes, her clothes? Like, no, that's not what I said. I meant take off the mask and be vulnerable and open to them. Okay, today is Monday. It's getting late as usual when I talk. I'll blame it on my computer being lazy. Oh my goodness, the fan is spinning so much. I hope it doesn't sound like, it sounds like I have a jet engine. One of the fighter jets are taking off right in front of me. I can almost feel the wind kind of blowing in my face from the computer. I really need to do a reinstall or see if I can find something else. Hopefully I can do that so that it's not so noisy. I forgot myself. My jet engine just ruined my tempo. Yes, meditation. That's it. I'll skip the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice today because it's gotten too late. I've been talking too long, but we'll do that another day. So, like I said, today is Monday, so today is guided meditation, and I'll ring the bell and then we'll sit for 20 minutes. hope you can hear it over the jet engine. So as always, I want you to just sit down and start focusing on your breath. And we're not trying to observe the individual sensations of the breath. Instead, we're trying to be aware of breath happening, just as an anchor, just as something to ground us in the sensations in the body, so we don't disappear into an emotional journey into a distant past or an imaginatory future that doesn't exist yet. When we start focusing on what it feels like to be here, what it feels like to just sit still, we're not looking for sensations of, oh, I have pain in my right knee, there's a ticking on behind my ear. That's not what I'm going to ask you to look for when I ask you to look for what's happening inside of you right now. Instead, I want you to look for friction. I want you to look for distortions. I want you to look for emotional judgment or emotional pressure. A sense of having a relationship to things around you. And having a relationship means that you can't let the sofa that you're sitting in just be a sofa. No, it has to be your sofa or their sofa, or a dirty sofa, or a clean sofa. We feel like we have to judge or have a relationship towards things. The idea of just existing without needing something from the world around us is completely alien to most of us. So as you sit there listening to me, maybe it's hurting a little bit to sit there, I want you to see, what kind of relationship do you have to the world around you right now? Can you feel how you feel safe because you're in your home? Or maybe you feel a bit not at ease because you're in a public space. Maybe you're sitting at work. Maybe you're doing something that makes it difficult to focus on just closing your eyes. None of these things are not necessarily true, but that doesn't mean that we need to have an emotional pressure towards them. Instead, I want you to just give the space you're in the ability to just be there. So whether you're at home, whether you're sitting in a train station, whether you're sitting at work, as long as you're physically safe, I want you to allow that space to just be there. See if you can find the feeling that you have towards the space around you and just let it be. Try not to judge it. Try not to make it good or bad. Instead, just let it be, whatever it is. See if you can relax into just being here, into just sitting. And if you find that it's possible to accept that this place is just here, it's okay. I don't need to have any kind of relationship to it. Wherever I am is where I am. I want you to start focusing on wherever you're sitting. If you're sitting in a chair, on the floor, on a mat, maybe you have your own meditation space where you like to sit, or you're sitting in your own chair where you like to sit. Maybe you don't even have your eyes closed because you have to keep them open. I want you to see what kind of relationship you have to that thing that you're sitting on, whether that's a blanket, chair, or sofa, whatever, it doesn't matter. Does this feel like, oh, this is a dirty sofa, it's a clean carpet, it's a exposed chair that people can walk by? Whatever it is, try to see if you can find that resistance to that object. See if you can find that emotional judgment that makes it so that you can't just let that chair be a chair. Instead, it's my chair. It's a chair that creaks. It's a chair that was broken last year and I fixed it. So now it's special to me. Just let it be a chair. Just let the sofa be a sofa. The blanket you're sitting on, it's just a blanket. You've chosen to sit down. You're physically safe. Then just let it be. Just let it be whatever it wants to be. If you can do that, then I want you to move on to you as a person. And this is a bit more complicated for most people, or complex, I should say. The amount of emotional judgment you have towards your own body are so vast and so complicated that you probably don't have the first idea of just how many emotional judgments you're constantly putting on yourself without even realizing it. So I want you to just feel if you can extend that openness, that acceptance of the room just being a room, a space. The thing that you're sitting on just being a thing, and it's okay. It doesn't need to change. It can just be a chair. I don't need to emotionally judge it. That open space, that open feeling of just letting things be as they are, I want you to extend that to your own body. I want you to let your own body just be allowed to be there. Look at what's coming in the way. Are you too skinny? Are you too fat? Are you too brown? Are you too white? Is your hair the wrong color? Do you wish it was different? Are you too young? Are you too old? Are your eyes too far apart or too close? Does your body smell? This is not about figuring all of these things out. Instead, it's just giving you a direction to see if you can feel that uncomfortableness that most of us have towards our bodies. And just let it be. Just let it be a body that's just sitting in this room. That's just sitting on a chair in this room, on a sofa in this room, on a mat in this room. Wherever it's sitting, just let it sit. Just let it be, whatever it is. There is no need for you to emotionally judge your own body. There is no need for you to feel any resistance towards it. For the next few minutes, if nothing else, just allow your body to be whatever it is. Just as you are allowing the room that you're in to be whatever it is. The thing that you're sitting on to be whatever it is. And I want you to spend some time doing this. Really see if you can find the friction that you have towards your own body. See where it is. See how there's a tension there, how there's friction. Don't avoid it, don't push it away. Also, there's no need to express it by yelling or screaming or crying. I mean, you can if you want to. Especially the crying part, but it doesn't really help to express it. Instead, I want you to see that whatever that friction is, that's who you are. that feeling that you have inside of you, that feeling is what you're identifying as right now. So if you think that you're too fat, your identity right now is being too fat. If you feel like you're too skinny or too old or too young, that is what your identity is right now, because your feelings are what you identify as. Not the concepts about your body, not your thoughts, but your feelings. So just let them be there and see if you can welcome them, move towards them, not push them away. Be open, and this is something that you just have to experiment with and move around and see that when you do it the right way, that friction, that tension, it just disappears and there's nothing there. It's just the body, and it's fine however it is. In fact, it's perfect however it is. Now, if you've been able to just let the room you're in be whatever it is, the thing that you're sitting on, whatever that may be whatever it is, and also allow your body to just be whatever it is. I want you to imagine what it would be like to talk to someone who's close to you and just let them be whatever they may be. Not needing something from them, letting go of any old hurts or old good things or ideas of who they are, and just letting them be whoever they may be. Not needing them to create the mask that they usually have to put in front of themselves to interact with you. The way you do that is by taking away the mask from yourself and just allowing yourself to be whatever you may be. What would that be like? What would it be like to experience interacting with them in that way, without all the filters, without the emotional judgment between you, instead just two human beings having a conversation, or taking a walk, or looking at a football game, whatever you may be doing, without any judgment, without any need to have it lead to something, needing to give you something, instead just being there, in whatever way you're there. hope you enjoyed that. It was a little bit different than what we normally do, but it felt relevant, and it's something that just comes so naturally to me to do, but I don't think about it. And I hope that it was possible for you to do the same thing. In other words, see how there's a constant friction towards the world around you, and you can actually let that go and just allow the world to be there. And that is really a nice way to live life, when you're allowing the rest of the world to be there. Thank you for today, and I wish you a great week. I'll see you back on Thursday.